Hey everyone, I'm back, and today we're going to be talking about Friday the 13th, Part 4, the final chapter. And this movie came out in 1984, and it is the fourth Friday the 13th movie. And it's definitely not the final chapter, I'll tell you that much. And in terms of how much I enjoyed it, I thought it was about on par with the third and the second movie. I enjoyed it about as much as those two. And I'm not saying I enjoyed it like in ways that it was that was intentional, like me liking the characters and me really being invested in the story and the horror that came with all of that. None of that worked for me. I was just entertained because everything was just so stupid and ridiculous, and there's really no reason for anything to happen. It's just a series of events just made to exist to happen so that we can have these horror movie moments where Jason Voorhees is going to kill a bunch of people, and it's going to be bloody and entertaining, and that's the entire movie. And it's really cheesy, really stupid, and the music is ridiculous, and the kills are over the top and ridiculous, and that's pretty much all there is to it. And there's not really much else to the film aside from that, and the only things you could talk about really from that point on are just like specific scenes and moments. One of the weirdest things in this movie that really stood out to me was this dance scene that was really ridiculous and over the top. I've seen that scene a few times on YouTube just because I thought it was hilarious, and when it happens in the movie, it's so stupid and funny, and I can't help but laugh while watching it. It's like one of the best things in the world, and if you have not seen that scene, definitely watch the scene because it is hilarious. I love it. And none of the characters are really interesting in this movie, and they're not really developed all that much, and all the women in this movie are like, am I pretty enough? And they're just constantly hanging out with guys, and that's pretty much all the characterization that they have. And the men in this movie are pretty much the same way for the most part, except for like one guy who's like really obsessed with finding Jason Voorhees and killing him, and there's a kid who is just like into like making masks and like effects, and that's his character, and the way that gets incorporated into the movie is kind of ridiculous. And speaking of makeup, there were some really good makeup effects in this movie that I thought looked really great. And that might be my favorite part about the movie, is that the makeup in this movie was great, and it looked great, it paid off, and it never took me out of the movie. And this movie, from a basic standpoint, or even just a bit more specific, like in terms of like its structure, it's the same thing as the first three movies in a way. Like, not so much the very first movie because that's like a horror mystery. The rest of them are just more straightforward slasher movies, and it's the same thing really, and there isn't really much added to it. And the reason for that is because these movies were made cheap and quick, and they were just made to make money, and that is it. And it kind of shows that there wasn't really much thought put into like the story and the characters. It was more about the kills and like making it look realistic and having it being very gory and fun, and that was the intention of the film, and I get it. It's just that it doesn't make for a very interesting movie. The third act of this movie is really fun and entertaining, and just goes full on and just, I don't even know how to describe it. It's just really ridiculous and delivers exactly what you would want, I guess. It's very much what this series is kind of known for at this point. And the characters in this movie are really stupid and just make the most illogical things possible. Like, they just split up, of course. Characters always split up to cover more ground, but that's kind of just making it easier for each of you to get killed. But they do it anyways, and there's a scene where Jason is like killing a guy, and it's the funniest thing ever when he's getting killed, and the guy who's getting killed is like, he's telling him like the female lead of the movie. It's, go, run! He's killing me! He's killing me! And she has a machete in her hand, but she's just standing there and screaming, like, just help him! It's like, you have a weapon that could be very useful. It's like, why aren't you doing anything? It's like, I get that you might be really scared and probably you just froze, but that wasn't communicated properly. And that wasn't really set up at all. It was like it, or anything like that. It's like, it's just, what could be convenient enough for this series of events to be happening? And that's the whole movie. And there was some really terrible fake laughing in this movie. Like, there's a character who's just like watching a movie within this film, and it's like, I don't even know what it is, and he just finds it so funny. And he's like, ha 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 ha, ha 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 ha, ha ha ha. And like, that's literally his laughing, and it's really bad. And I was taken out of it completely. And that's about all I have to say about Friday the 13th Part 4, the final chapter. It's ridiculous, it's stupid, it's a Friday the 13th movie, that's for sure. It's entertaining, it's not really boring, and I don't really have much else to say about it. So if you like Friday the 13th movies, then check this movie out. And with all that being said, I'm going to give Friday the 13th Part 4, the final chapter, a 4 out of 10. Thank you for watching my videos as always. If you enjoyed this review, be sure to leave a like and comment down below what you thought of Friday the 13th Part 4, the final chapter, and my social media links. They will all be in the description, so follow me there. And last but not least, subscribe to be a part of Foley Nation, and I'll see you when I get my next review up, and that is going to be for Interview with the Vampire Chronicles. I've never seen this movie before, and I don't know anything about it, and I'm looking forward to it. So look forward to that, but until I get that up, thank you for watching and have a great day.